And menacing stared directly at the island. Across radio stations, an urgent voice cut through the static. This is not a drill. Evacuate immediately. As the wind began to hum through the palms and clouds devoured the sunset, Jamaica stood still. No one spoke. No one moved. The world was holding its breath, waiting for the monster to strike. By mid-morning on October 28th, Hurricane Melissa made landfall near Black River on Jamaica's southern coast. What had been distant thunder overnight erupted into chaos as winds over 180 miles slammed into the island. Palm trees snapped like matchsticks. Tin roofs tore from homes and spiraled through the air like shrapnel. Within minutes, entire neighborhoods vanished beneath rising water. Along the coast, waves taller than two-story buildings crashed into seawalls, tearing apart fishing docks and sweeping boats inland. Streets in Kingston and St. Elizabeth turned into raging rivers. Cars were overturned, power poles toppled, and communication lines went dark. Residents who had ignored evacuation orders now fought for their lives. It sounded like a freight train that never stopped, one survivor said. The wind just screamed. Emergency sirens wailed through the storm, urging people to take shelter, but it was already too late for many. Hospitals lost power, relying on backup generators. Firefighters and rescue crews could not move through the floodwaters. In just a few hours, Melissa had brought Jamaica to its knees, a storm so fierce that even seasoned meteorologists were left speechless. And the eye of the hurricane hadn't even arrived yet. By midday, Hurricane Melissa was tearing across Jamaica with unstoppable fury. The island was no longer fighting wind and rain, it was fighting survival itself. Streets that once echoed with music and laughter were now rivers of chaos. Power poles lay scattered like broken bones. Cars floated through intersections. The air smelled of salt, smoke, and fear. Then, for a brief, haunting moment, silence. The eye of the storm had arrived. The winds died down and an eerie calm fell over Kingston. People peeked from windows, some stepping outside, believing the worst had passed. But above them, the other half of Melissa was waiting, darker, stronger, and even more merciless. Within minutes, the storm's second wall slammed into the island. The roar returned louder than before. Debris turned into deadly projectiles. Roofs ripped away. Entire buildings folded like paper. The ground shook as thunder rolled through the mountains. Across the south coast, desperate voices filled the air, cries for help drowned by the wind. Emergency crews tried to move, but floodwaters were too high visibility, near zero. Jamaica was trapped inside the storm's heart, and the nightmare had only begun. When dawn broke over Jamaica, the world that emerged was unrecognizable. Hurricane Melissa had moved north, but its trail of destruction stretched across the entire island. Streets were buried under mud and shattered concrete. Neighborhoods once filled with color and music now looked like war zones, silent, broken, and drowned. In Kingston, power lines hung like webs of steel sparking over pools of floodwater. Hundreds of homes lay in ruins. Hospitals ran on failing generators, their corridors crowded with the injured cuts from flying debris, broken bones, and hypothermia from long nights in the cold rain. In St. Elizabeth, waves over 20 feet high had ripped boats from their moorings, tossing them onto rooftops. Farms were obliterated, banana trees snapped, sugarcane fields flattened, livestock swept away. Months of labor erased in a single night. Bridges collapsed. Highways vanished under landslides, and cell towers crumpled into the earth. Emergency teams could only reach some villages by helicopter. Entire communities were stranded, surrounded by water-waving flags from rooftops for help that could not yet come. From the air, Jamaica looked as if it had been bombed, a landscape scarred by wind and water. Melissa had not just destroyed property, it had shaken the soul of a nation.
Sì, adesso siamo sul tetto, aspettiamo.
In the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, survival became an hour-by-hour battle. Tens of thousands were left homeless, their belongings scattered or washed away. Shelters overflowed with families clutching whatever they had managed to save: a photo, a blanket, a child's toy. Food and clean water ran dangerously low. In Kingston, rescue teams moved through flooded streets on boats searching for the stranded. Volunteers linked arms to carry the elderly through chest-deep water. Hospitals worked beyond capacity, treating wounds, dehydration, and trauma. Outside, mothers waited in the rain, begging for news of missing children. The government mobilized soldiers, firefighters, and police across the island, but the damage was too vast. Many roads were gone, bridges collapsed, and communication lines severed. Aid convoys struggled to reach remote mountain towns, still cut off by landslides. Yet, amid the devastation, the spirit of Jamaica refused to break. Strangers shared bread, fishermen offered boats for rescue, and churches opened their doors to the displaced. Melissa had torn apart homes and livelihoods, but it could not destroy the courage and compassion that held the island together. In the days that followed, the world watched Jamaica's tragedy unfold. Satellite images showed vast swaths of the island